It's the House Martins and Happy Hour on BBC Radio Derby. Good morning, hope you're well. It's Tuesday morning, the 5th of February. Sally Pepper with you through till midday. Now, if you're a parent of young children, then this theme may be familiar to you. If you're a child like me of the kind of 70s into the 80s, this may also mean something to you. Yeah, they've jazzed it up since my day. Recognise it? That's the Worst Witch theme, which you can currently watch on the CBBC channel. Now, the reason I'm playing that is because a Derby actress has managed to bag herself a role in the new series. 14-year-old Annette, who is a pupil at Derby High School, plays the role of new character Mabel Tapioca. Great name. Annette describes Mabel as a high-spirited young lady with a sharp tongue. Shall we hear a quick snippet of Annette in action?
A chanting contest. That really is music to my ears.
As if you'd have a chance. You can't sing a note. Why, what are you plotting?
Come on, Mum. You know I can't resist a large crowd.
There she is. And here she is. Good morning, Annette.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
It's great being here.
Is it weird? I mean, have you watched any of it back yet properly? Or are you avoiding it? Or
I think it would be a crime if I didn't watch myself back. But yeah, I have watched. Ever since season 3 first came out in, I think it was the 4th of January. I started watching, and every Monday after school, I at 5 o'clock I sort of tune in to watch it, and I'll usually have the script beside me and compare the sort of things that they might have added or cut and that sort of thing.
Ah, so you're critiquing it as you watch it.
Slightly.
Ah, you're a perfectionist then.
I guess you could say yes, because sometimes they might add something in, and they might have deleted a couple of scenes, and I might think they should have kept that in, or maybe they should have cut that time-wise. So even though I did film it, and I love it, I love everyone there because they're all so nice. But I think it's fair to say that I occasionally do have a couple of critiques for the series.
Would you dare tell the director? Would you?
Oh no.
No, you're probably better to keep it to yourself for now. Yeah, that's probably sensible. Because you are, I mean, this is the start, hopefully, of a huge acting career for you. I'm guessing that's what you'd love to do.
I'd love to do it, but because acting isn't considered the most stable job, and you're not sort of guaranteed to get work every so often. I'm not putting all my faith in it. I have got plan B, C, and a couple of D's and E's, hopefully.
You're 14. You've got plans D's and E's involved as well. So, I mean, most 14-year-olds haven't even got a plan A.
Well, I've got a couple of ideas. But my plan A is acting. But if that doesn't work, then I've got other things up my sleeve.
So the acting started when you said to your mum, I'd like to go to drama classes.
Yes, I think it was the summer of 2014, and there was sort of an acting showcase that was happening in Derby, and they were handing out pamphlets for that at school, and I thought, why not try it? So I went, and I realised I actually quite like this acting thing. So yes, that's when I said to my parents, hey, can you sign me up for a weekend drama club or something like that? And later on, I sign up for something called Pauline Quirk Academy. And I've been going ever since, I think, around October 2015.
And it's linked with an agency is the setup, isn't it? So then
Yes.
they can put you forward for certain parts on presumably just on TV and in film.
Yes, and they've been doing this with a lot of other children, even before I joined. A couple of children have got roles in EastEnders, Wolf Blood, that sort of thing.
Well, you've not been doing too badly yourself.
No.
From what I hear. Game of Thrones?
Yes, that was actually my first audition and my first role.
No. Your first audition, you get it,
Yes.
and it's Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Did you understand the enormity of auditioning for that show?
At the time, no. At the time, because I think I was around 10. I'm not 100% sure. 10 or 9, and because it's quite a sort of, an adult show, I hadn't heard of it until I actually got the call, and my parents weren't in the house, but my brother and his friend were, and he searched up the show Game of Thrones, and he found out the sort of things that it contained, and he said, "You cannot tell, you cannot tell them."
No.
And I said, "No, because we have to tell our
Make
parents."
sure Mum and Dad do not look this up. The answer will be no.
But my dad actually came home later on and found out, but he was actually quite happy for me because he knew of the series, he knew what it was, but it's my first thing, and I think at the time he understood how big it was. So
And you got a couple of lines in it as well, didn't you?
yes, I do have a couple of lines.
And what was that like to be on set and filming for something like Game of Thrones?
Oh gosh, it was like so. I don't know how to put it, but it was because it's so new. It's sort of you want to look at everything, and because the place where I was filming, it was in a sort of an underground castle, and there were sort of like potions, scrolls, and like boxes with things in, and not to mention the camera, the crew, hair and makeup. Because I go to this weekend drama club. They have a part of it called. They have a section in that drama club where for an hour they'll do film and TV, and they'll have like a camera and that sort of thing. So I was used to acting in front of a camera, but I wasn't used to sort of how professional it was, and these high-tech gadgets. And I would say that the room, it wasn't a big room, I have to say, and not to mention that you've got cast, crew, the actors.
So you're all squashed into this small space.
And you've got loads of shelves of stuff, tables, so it's all pretty cramped. But because it was my first time, it was sort of a surreal experience,
Being young, and particularly obviously that you were probably 9 or 10, as you say, when you did that.
Yes.
Does that help? Because there's the kind of no fear factor, I suppose, you can still cling on to when you're younger. You start to question everything the older you get. So do you think that helps with just going into that really kind of star-struck environment and go, I'll just get on with it. I'll just do my lines and it's fine.
I think being a child does help, because with adults, often sort of they'll have high expectations, but with children, it's pretty easy for them to be impressed, and for a child to be introduced to like a potential career at such a young age, it does give them help. It does help sort of them decide what they want to do with their future. Like, do I want this life of acting where I'm in front of a camera, or do I not? So I think it helps because it's better to try new things when you're younger, because you're not living alone in a flat trying to pay rent. You've got your parents and guardians to support you.
Which is important, because it can be quite a lonely life, being an actor, I would imagine, at times. We'll talk more about your experience and, of course, Worst Witch, which is your latest moment of fame. So we'll talk more with Annette Hannah, who's from Derby High School, after this on BBC Radio Derby. ELO, living thing. So I'm chatting to 14-year-old Annette Hannah. She's a pupil at Derby High School. You can see her currently in the latest series of CBBC's Worst Witch as Mabel Tapioca. What a great name. What a great name. Is she a bit feisty? You say she's a bit sharp-tongued. Tell me about her.
Well, in the show, she, especially with her mother, you're introduced to the sort of slightly feisty character of hers, like even when she first comes to the school, because when she first comes, instead of she's in awe of the school, she's always dreamed of going to Cackles.
Because it is like the original Harry Potter, isn't it? Worst Witch.
A bit like it, yes.
Because it started off I remember it as a kid. It started in the probably late 70s.
Yeah.
And, so that's way before J.K. Rowling came up with...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe she grew up with Worst Witch and then thought, oh, hang on, this is an idea. Because it's an academy for witches.
Yes. But I think because Worst Witch came before Harry Potter, it's possible that, I do agree with you, it's possible that J.K. Rowling did take inspiration. I think it's great because I never grew up with the books personally, but it sort of it leads children into this sort of fantasy land and it lets their sort of imagination grow wild, like sort of, oh, imagine if this did happen. Imagine if I really could make a table jump up in the air, or give a potion to my toys that can make them talk, and that sort of thing.
Are your friends at school trying to get you to do some of these tricks now that they think?
No,
no.
Thankfully,
have they been watching you?
A couple of them, yes. And
she's looking embarrassed right now. You've not actually told, because I've just said to you, didn't I? I said, are your friends at Derby High School listening to this interview this morning? And you've not told anyone, have you?
No. I think I keep my acting stuff and my sort of personal stuff quite separate sometimes. And I quite like it to be that way because occasionally some people have come up to me in school, people I've never ever talked to, and asked me, "Are you in Worst Witch?" And a lot of the time I'm sort of, yes, and they'll say, "Oh, that's cool," and I usually am stuck for words. I'm sort of like, what am I meant to say?
So you feel uncomfortable with with what fame brings?
Slightly. It is nice to, be recognised as someone who has been in, these shows and that sort of thing. But sometimes it's sort of, I'm just a normal person.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, obviously I've only just met you, but and this is not, I'm not being patronising anyway. My oldest son is a similar age to you, and you have got such a sensible head on your shoulders, which is fantastic because that's got to stand you in good stead for the crazy world, if that's what you end up in, of, acting and TV and film and stage and whatever you end up doing. That's got to put you in a good position. Obviously, the money helps, I imagine, Annette, doesn't it?
Slightly.
I've got to mention it. Are you again being sensible from that point of view and putting it away, putting it in an account and going, right, that will be good for me going to uni and all the rest of it? Or have you maybe splashed out a little bit?
Occasionally, now and then, I do sort of spend, but I'm trying to keep most of it. I'm trying to save most of it for university. So
Good for you.
I don't go into huge debt when I
Good
order.
for you. I knew you were going to say that, but come on, what have you splashed out on? Most frivolous item? Ferrari?
Oh, no. I'm really boring because other than acting, I also quite like drawing and doing art stuff. So usually, if I spend it on anything, I'm usually spending it on art supplies, much to the dismay of my mother, because she'll often say, "Why do you need that? It's just
So
a pencil."
Mum's saying, why aren't you buying new clothes? Why aren't you
Yeah.
splashing it out on a new handbag? Yeah. Have you bought anything for Mum? Your earnings?
Christmas time, that sort of thing.
Did
Yes,
you
definitely.
treat her?
Yes.
Good. That's what I want to hear. You don't need to tell me what, but always look after your mum and dad.
Oh, yeah.
Annette,
I'll try my best.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Annette, lovely. What a lovely lady you are. Lovely to meet you. And
Thank you.
best of luck with what the future holds.
Thank you.
You don't know if you're in the next series of Worst Witch. You're waiting to hear.
I'm waiting to hear.
Okay, but who knows what's next?
Yes.
And I'm sure you'll be back in to tell us all about it, yeah?
Yes.
Brilliant stuff. That's Annette Hannah from Derby High School, and you can currently see her as Mabel Tapioca in the latest series of Worst Witch. This is BBC Radio Derby.